என்னடா சந்துரு, நான் சொன்னதை பற்றி உன் பையன்கிட்ட பேசுனியா? என்னடா யோசிக்கிற? அவங்கள மாதிரியான சர்வீஸ் அண்ட் அப்ரோச்சை நீ பார்த்துருக்கவே முடியாது. ட்ரஸ்டபிள், ஃப்ரெண்ட்லி, ஹைலி ப்ரொஃபஷனல். இதுக்கு மேலே என்னால் ஒன்றும் சொல்ல முடியாது. யோசிச்சுக்கிட்டே இருக்காதடா, என்னோட வா, நான் கூட்டிகிட்டு போகிறேன். எல்லா பேஷண்ட்ஸுக்கும் பர்சனல் கேர் தராங்க. 30 years of proven medical records. All eye care treatment under one roof. அதான் ஆர்கே ஐ சென்டரோட ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி.
My dear children of God, I welcome you all for this session, Meaningful Life. Last week, we dwelt on how God created other creations as well as man. In Genesis, first chapter and second chapter, we were dealing with. And as I said, unlike we see metro construction and things like that today and know how things are being created, none of us were alive when God created heavens and the earth. So, in His mercy, He has revealed them to Moses, who in turn had put it in writing in the book of Genesis, and that is how we were pondering in the last week. And also, not only Adam and Eve were created from mud, even today we are being created with the elements that is present in the mud. Our flesh and blood, the elements we find there are nothing but what is being found in the mud. Now, today we are going to go a little bit on the medical side. In the book of Genesis, we found that God formed Adam, took his rib and made Eve, and later on Adam and Eve found each other, known each other and produced children. The first two children mentioned in the Bible are Cain and Abel. And how today scientifically and medically things are happening. Like how God did in the book of Genesis, taking a part of Adam and making Eve. Today God is taking a part of man and a part of woman and forming together to make the third person, the children. How we are going to deal in this episode: human reproduction, sperm fertilizing the egg, fertilization, embryo development, newborn baby, birth to death, a cycle, second birth. This spiritual I am talking about. These are all the few things we are going to deal this week. I am not going to deal too deep into the medical side. I am not a doctor, I am an engineer. So, cursorically, superficially we will see what happens at the time of human reproduction. The male sperm and the female egg or ovum meet in the female's reproductive system. When sperm fertilizes the egg, this fertilized egg is called a zygote. It is pronounced as zygote, I believe. The zygote goes through a process of becoming an embryo and developing into a fetus. Within 24 hours after fertilization, the egg that will become your baby rapidly divides into many cells. It starts with one cell. Human cell has 46 chromosomes. 23 are available in sperm and 23 are available in the egg. Both joined together form the first cell, but within 24 hours that first cell multiplies itself into so many other cells. By the 8th week of pregnancy, the embryo develops into a fetus. There are about 40 weeks to to a typical pregnancy. We normally say it as 10 months. These weeks, 40 weeks are divided to 3 trimesters. 3 sections they separate it, and they say, are you in first trimester or second trimester or third trimester. Now, sperms when ejaculated, they try to travel and meet the egg to fertilize it. As I told you earlier, the male sperm has got 23 chromosomes and the egg has got 23 chromosomes. The sperm as well as egg may have a different DNAs, like how we have a fingerprint. Each person's DNA differs. Husband may have a specific DNA and wife may have a specific DNA. But the moment these two meet together and fertilize, the child may have a different DNA. God is unique. If you give a piece of paper and say to a person, draw a diagram with 2 eyes, 1 nose and 1 mouth and 2 ears, after some time we will start repeating the same shape again and again. But God, with billions and billions of people, has been creating each one of us in a unique way. So, let us see how this fertilization happens. When the sperm enters the egg, it starts fertilizing. I have been presenting some photos also for you to understand, and the embryo development starts. Initially it is first cell, then 2 cells, then 4 cells, then 8 cell stage, 16 cell stage, then fetus of 4 weeks, fetus of 10 weeks, fetus of 16 weeks, fetus of 20 weeks. Now you may ask, it started with 1 cell. How many cells a newborn baby can have? I googled it and I found 260 crores of cells a newborn baby has, mind blowing. And there are 32.2 trillion cells in an adult human body. Amazing. Our God is an amazing God. What is this 32.2 trillion? I was trying to calculate in lakh and crores, which we normally understand. It is 37.2 lakh crore cells. Can we believe? So much of cells God creates from that first cell. That is how the newborn baby is given to us. And as we all know, the baby is helpless to start with. Slowly it starts turning around, and after some time we find baby crawling, then taking the first few steps, 10th month or so. Later on he becomes a toddler, he or she. Then we find children going to school. Then after that we know they go to college, and today unless you do PG also, getting a job becomes difficult. You do PG, and in medicine and all we find lot of super specialization happening. All these things they study, and finally the age catches up. Even in the Psalm 90, Moses will be telling, what is our age? It is 70, at the max 80. After that again, even after 60 there is a declining, cells become weak, we feel weakness creeping in, the youthful body slowly transforms itself into an aged body, the vigor is slowly coming down, the cells start becoming weaker, and many cells die. Slowly but steadily we become weaker and weaker, and finally at our old age, or at times unnatural death, accidents, diseases, so many things can cause our death. We die. It is a cycle. Birth to death, it is a cycle. Womb to tomb. We are born in our womb and finally get settled down in a tomb. This is what is happening. This is on the physical side of birth. But in our Bible, we also see a spiritual birth. In James 2:26, it is said, as the body without spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. Now let us ponder on the first part. As the body without the spirit is dead. So when this life came, it very clearly says when God sent the spirit into our body, then we got the life. When the spirit and flesh join, like how sperm and egg join, life was formed. When the spirit and flesh join, life appears. When spirit leaves the body, it results in death, obviously, opposite, corollary. In Zechariah 12:1 we see this, the word of the Lord concerning Israel, the Lord who stretches out the heavens, who lays the foundation of the earth, and who forms the human spirit within a person declares. Who forms the human spirit within a man. See, this is where we find how God puts the spirit into a man. In Colossians 1:16 we find that everything has been made by God, both visible as well as invisible. Spirit we cannot see, but it is God who created it. He said all has been created by Him and for Him. So spirit God had created, the flesh also God is creating. When both of them join, we get a birth. This is a spiritual birth. And how it is happening, then it is a secret. That is what God tells through in Ecclesiastes 11:5. As you do not know the path of the wind, or how the body is formed in a mother's womb. In some other versions it is written like, as how the spirit enters the body, you do not know. So you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. It is very difficult. See, we were all in our mother's womb for 40 weeks before we entered this earth. We were all floating there. What did we know about the outside world? We did not even know how we were formed. Similarly, as we are living in this world today, we do not know the other world. God had hidden something, revealed something. We will have to keep asking Him to reveal more, and that is what He says. So you cannot understand the work of God, the maker of all things. Another spiritual birth we see in John 3:3. Jesus replied, very truly I tell you, no one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again. For if you, this is what we find in John 3:3. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of body, you will live. For those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. This is what we find in Romans 8:13 and 14. So my dear children of God, like how it had happened in the book of Genesis, God creating Adam and Eve, even today through sperm and egg, children are being formed. And there is another definition for birth. It is spiritual birth when spirit and body join, and also the second birth when we are connected to the Lord. So as we go on, we will deal more deeply into the secrets of the Bible. As of now, I will take leave. Thank you.
Appointment வாங்கிட்டல?
வாங்கிட்டேன்க்கா.
Hey, why are you getting nervous? Last month பிரியா குட்டியோட அங்க தான் விசிட் பண்ணேனா. எக்கனாமிக்கல்டா. இன்சூரன்ஸ் கூட claim பண்ணிக்கலாம். Premature babiesல இருந்து old age people வரைக்கும் விசிட் பண்ற ஒரு இடம்.
எல்லா பேஷண்ட்ஸுக்கும் பர்சனல் கேர் தராங்க. 30 years of proven medical records. RK Eye Center டி நகர்ல இருக்கிறதுனால accessible to all places.
Youngsters, you guys must take the right decision at the right time with the right people.